Welcome to Yes Also. I'm Suzi Barrett, and my guest today is Jazz Lewis. Jazz has absolutely taken the LA improv scene by storm in the last few years. She's a member of Branzino, the UCB Herald team. She's the DEI director at Shared Experience Studio, and she's extremely active on the indie scene. But her improv journey started in Salt Lake City. We talk about the scene there quite a bit in this episode, especially in part 1, including insights into building an audience and performing in bars, which can be very tricky. And in part 2, we talk about all of the insights that unlocked new levels in Jazz's improv when she moved to LA and started studying with teachers here. Part 2 is available for subscribers at yesalso.supercast.com. You only have to go there once, you subscribe, you sign up, and then you link this to your player, and all the part 2s show up on your regular feed. For more Jazz, make sure you check out her Herald team Branzino at UCB. Check out Who All Gonna Be There. It's the last Sunday of every month at the Barbara Morrison Performing Arts Center. And Jazz is teaching a Level 1 class at the Shared Experience Studio, August 30th to September 27th, Sundays 2 to 5. You can sign up for that at thesharedexperiencstudio.com. Okay, and now, Jazz Lewis. Jazz, welcome.
Hello. Thank you. So excited to be here.
So excited to have you. We just did a fun show together the other night.
Yes.
So your improv is fresh in my brain.
Okay, I love that. Yes, so fun. That was great over at Shared Experience.
Yeah. Big shout out, Shared Experience Studio.
Yes, a little Shared Experience where I'm the DEI director. I got to make sure I shout them out.
Got to do it. Let's start at the beginning of your improv journey. I know you do a lot of comedy in like a lot of different areas. Wherever that starts, even if that starts with other stuff, like, you know, were you a theater kid? Did you start stand up before improv? I want to hit all of this.
Yeah. So I was not really a theater kid. I remember doing a play once, and I like loved it. But I also have ADHD, so I was like, and I'm never doing that again.
Too many lines to memorize.
Right. I was in like 4th grade, and I'm like, I put on the best play of my life, and that's all you get. But I was always like the class clown, you know? Like I grew up in like a very funny family. I grew up like with a single mother and like 3 brothers, no sisters. So you know what kind of household that is.
Things were stacked in your favor from the jump. You were already getting some attention.
Yes, I'm immediately getting roasted by my brothers all the time. I'm immediately getting that thick comedic skin that you need.
Did you learn how to roast them back?
Yes. Yes, that was a big thing, especially like my brother Corey, who's like right above me, you know. He's like so good at just saying the right thing to make everybody laugh at you. Like he's like the funny one in my family, you know? So like,
is he a comedian now?
No, he's not. He has like incredible stage fright. So he's a dad. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's how his life went.
Which is funny because dads have to be like performers too in their own way. It's just a smaller audience.
Right. Yeah. It's so funny to see his kids like, you know, like either laugh at his jokes or be like, you could have done better.
Didn't really stick the landing on that pun, Dad.
Right.
So you learned how to roast them back. And
yeah, and my mom was also like really funny person, and we grew up like kind of poor. So we kind of grew up, you know, in poverty in Las Vegas. Single mother. And
you're from Vegas?
Yeah, I'm from Las Vegas.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, some people are like, what? I didn't know people were from there. And I'm like, here we are. What happens there doesn't stay there.
We got out.
Yeah. And so she always is like, you know, let's make light of these situations we're in, and let's like laugh at the funny stuff. And if you make a mistake and like drop a plate of food, you know, we'll laugh about it, and we'll turn it into what we used to call like family bloopers, you know. So
that's actually so wonderful. It's like, you know, I grew up in a household where literally my mom would cry over spilled milk. Like literally, no. I remember like spilling stuff and her being like, but like you grew up in a house where people were laughing over spilled milk.
Yes.
How great.
My mom loved that, to be like, okay, yeah, you made a mistake, but it's kind of funny, right? Like, oh yeah, we don't have money to do this thing, but isn't it kind of funny? Oh, the lights is off, but ain't it kind of funny? You know, that's like the kind of mom she was, which is always rubbed off on me, because like I find myself always laughing now in the face of like tragic situations.
Yeah. I mean, a great skill, both for coping and for building a comedic sensibility.
Right, exactly. I'm like, little did she know she was turning me into a little mini comedian.
Right. Who will grow up and always struggle with money.
Right, exactly. I'm like, and the relationship with money remains.
Yeah. But at least it's familiar.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, okay. So you moved from Vegas to LA as an adult or as a kid?
I actually moved from Vegas to Salt Lake City.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey.
So
the home of comedy.
Right. Okay, that's not where I thought you were going. Like, are we going to talk about the Mormons? I can be like, what do I say about the Mormons on the podcast that doesn't get Suzi canceled?
You'll get canceled. It's your half.
Okay,
yeah, I'll just nod neutrally. Yeah.
Yes, I did move to Salt Lake City after college. So when I was in like high school, I remember doing like, I went to high school in Vegas, and I remember we did like a beauty pageant, but it was for boys, right? It was like a reverse beauty pageant. And there were two people in the senior class being like, oh, we're going to host a pageant and we're going to do this and, da-da-da. And then I had a friend who was like, well, I think Jazz should host a pageant. I think she'd be so good at that. And everybody's kind of like,
it's true.
Right.
I'd pick you too.
Little did she know.
Yeah.
Little did she know. But she's like, no, I think Jazz should host it. She'd be so good at it. And we got in this big argument over who's hosting a pageant. And then I end up hosting this pageant. My friend's like, I stuck my neck out for you. You better do good. And
I'm
like,
not let me down.
Yeah. And so I do this pageant. And for the first time at like 17, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what it feels like to kill. Like I crushed so hard. I always say some of the best jokes I ever told was like before I was a comedian and didn't know what I was doing.
That's so funny. Why do you think that is? What's the anatomy of that?
I honestly think like it's always just been so natural to me to say certain things at certain times, even if I never understood like what the joke was. I always had a like inkling of like, okay, if I say this, people are gonna laugh, And at some points in my life, I was like kind of always like, okay, we get it, I'm funny, like when I was younger, especially
annoyed,
right? Because I'm like, I know I'm so funny, right? Why can't I be smart? But eventually, it's like you kind of turn it into a superpower, Like I said, when I was like, doing all these events for my schools and getting people to laugh at me in like masses or I went to school for broadcast journalism.
Oh, cool.
Communications. Even doing those, I would like do these really funny like news stories because I kind of like found this superpower in it. And truly, I really do think it comes from my childhood, just as always being able to find the funny in things. So I think even before I realized like why things were funny, I always knew what was funny.
Yeah. Like, and interesting though that you made the comment that some of your best stuff was before you became a comedian. Is there something about that like once you're immersed in the world, you're thinking too hard about it, or am I overthinking that?
No, yeah, I think so. And I think like you start to like filter now, of like, okay, let me filter things through my comedic voice, or you learn like what doesn't work, so you may not be taking as many swings, or whatever the case may be. But when or like you might be worried about offending people and like, oh, we're in this time. But when you're like 21, you're like, I don't give a fuck,
Right.
Sorry. I don't know if I can swear, but
you just got canceled. No, you can absolutely swear.
Yeah.
Will it make you feel better if I do it? Fuck.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, we're even. Cool.
One of my favorite words.
Same. Yeah, that's interesting. And the like not taking as many swings because you're guarding against the 10% when it goes really wrong means that you're not taking those other 90% also that can go every which way and lead you to surprising new stuff. And yeah. Okay. So you went to school for broadcast journalism.
Yes.
Go ahead.
At a small little school called Southern Utah University.
Okay.
So at that point, I was in the Mormon church. I started like kind of getting in the Mormon church.
No kidding.
Yes, I was. That's why I was like, now I got to talk about being Mormon and embarrass myself. I have a susceptibility to cults. I like to tell myself.
I do too. Every cult doc I watch, it takes till like episode 3 before I'm like, oh, got it. Now I'd be out.
It's bad. Yeah, I don't ask enough questions up top. I wait to get the vibe first, then I start asking questions. Kind of problematic. So when I was younger, like my family would be in and out of like investigating the Mormon church because the Mormon church is like a little predatory in the sense that they like to go to like low income neighborhoods of people who don't have a lot of things, give them things, and then say, join our church.
Right.
You know? So I'd been
if you pray the right way, God will give you a check.
Exactly. If you keep praying, we will pay your rent for you.
Right.
If you come and just read a little bit. So mom's like, go down there and get the rent paid. Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I was kind of like in the Mormon church at that time. I had some friends who were going to school in Utah. I was like, okay, great. How else am I going to do this whole college thing? It's like the first person in my immediate family to go to college. I was kind of like, ooh, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I went to this little small school in Utah. Loved it. You know, since it was so small, like I said, I did broadcast journalism. So you got a lot of experience like behind the camera, hosting events at the school. I was a part of like the student council, you know, doing all these things.
That's so fun. And with a small school like that, it's like you're collaborating on these projects and using the media center and stuff. That must be such a fun little, like, it's almost like creative arts camp or something.
Yes, exactly. You know, they had the MacBook lab and I'm like, a MacBook, you know, or whatever the case, like editing and things like that.
What prayer do I have to say to use this? Right. I can just use Final Cut? Great. Yeah.
It's like, okay, if I read the scriptures, like, then I'll be able to edit a video.
What was your goal? Were you like thinking of being like a host, a newscaster? What was your angle with broadcast journalism?
Exactly, as I wanted to be like a host. You know? And at that point, though, I secretly wanted to be a comedian. Like after, like I said, I kind of got a taste of what it'd be like. And I remember at 18 being like, I should be a stand-up comic, you know?
Yeah.
But that's also very scary. So I kind of was like very reluctant to dive into that. So I think I took this like, you know, alternate path of how can I still be funny and show who I am, but not call it what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So then you graduate.
Yep. So before I graduate, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I'm no,
everywhere. Take me. Yeah.
I'm everywhere. I got ADHD. You got to keep me on track, Suzi.
I'm hanging on.
I love Aretha Franklin. Yeah. So before I graduated, I had a friend who was doing comedy, and he was like, his name is Charlie, and he's like, you should do comedy. And I'm like, I want to secretly, don't tell anybody. And he was like, come to one of my shows and you'll kind of see. So I went to a show he did.
And he was a stand-up?
Yes. Okay. And he was a stand-up, but it was a stand-up and improv show. So me and my friend go to this show in college, and we're standing there watching it. And she leans over to me and she's like, we're like watching the improv set. And she leans over to me and she's like, you could do this.
Yeah,
like,
that's you.
Yeah, she's like, I could totally see you doing this. And I was like watching it, I was like, and I could do it better. That's all improvisers think when they see improv for the first time in some small town. You know?
Boy, they missed that edit. Second beat was a little derivative.
You're like, what is the joke here? What is the joke here?
Yeah.
And so from there, I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I could do that. That's like way less scary than doing stand-up.
Why?
In my mind, I thought it's like the collaborative effort.
Yeah.
You like in stand-up, it's like you live and die by your joke and yourself standing on that stage.
It's just you in a spotlight, and it's your name. And and
it's like, and when you fail hard, and no one else fails.
Right. And if you fail towards the top of your set, you have to swim through the rest of that set in failure.
And I'm like the kind of stand-up, because later I did eventually do stand-up, is like I stay the course. I'm like, this is what I prepared for you, and if you don't like it, like that's what you're getting. This is what's for dinner. You know?
Yeah. You don't like bits about vacation? Well, that's all I'm telling tonight. It was a long trip, and I have 30 jokes all about that trip. Yeah.
Right. And this is what you might get some little crowd work in the middle to try to loosen you up, but that's
just to get my Instagram clip.
Yeah. But improv is like, you lose, and you lose with your friends. Everybody like, we could have did better, but hey, but you had that great joke, and people are trying to like, lift you up after if you feel like you didn't have a good set. And then you can feel like you didn't have a good set, but someone else had a great set, so the whole set felt great. You know?
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. You disappear in the effort of lifting this couch together or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it is interesting how I've had those shows where like I drive home being like, ugh, felt like shit about that show, because I feel like I wasn't inspired. My brain felt slow, or like I made a move that I was like, why did I play that character that didn't feel fun to play, or whatever. But the show as a whole went great. And, you know, my friends who saw it will be like, that show was awesome. And it's like, I have to constantly remind myself, like, even if I feel like shit, the show can be great. And like, don't beat myself up so much. Like, yeah.
And I've learned to listen. I've learned that if I'm coming out of a set and I'm like, what was I doing? The moment someone from the audience says, oh my God, great set, I'm like, it was great. I'm like, hey, the person who it was there for, I'm putting it out for the audience. If they liked it, that's good enough for me.
Yeah. Great lesson there. Like, we are trained to listen in scenes as improvisers. We also need to listen to the audience. If they say they had a great time, great.
Right.
That's all that matters. I will listen.
Yep. And I'm like, and people are like, what'd you think? I'm like, you know, the audience loved it. That's what I think. And that's good enough for me. You know?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. You're susceptible to the group thing
I'm
again.
so susceptible. I'm like, what do you think? Okay, I think that too. Sure, let's rock.
You guys want to start a cult or what? What are we doing this weekend?
Right.
Okay. So you're at this improv show.
Yes.
You can definitely do it better than them.
Yes.
What else do you remember of that experience? Like, was this the first time you'd seen an improv show?
This is the first time I've seen like an improv show in improv form. And I just remember thinking, like, number one, they seemed like they were having so much fun. Like the stand-ups, you know, hit or miss. They were like nervous and being like, oh, you know, looking at the set books. But the improvisers got up there and I was like, this is so fun. Like, they're just having a good time. They're like laughing and joking with each other. Every time something goes south, they wipe it clean. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, this seems like something I could do.
Yeah, there's an ejection button and everyone has a parachute. This is a little safer, we're keeping it moving.
Yes, and they just looked like friends, which I'm like, I love friends, which is, you know, my susceptibility to cults is I'm like, I love community.
Yeah.
Community is like one of my, like, community, people, that's like my favorite part of the world. You know? So I'm just like, and you get friends, how fun. You know, like,
and you get friends. Yeah. So what happens after the show? You're like, sign me up?
Well, so then I was graduating. So I was like, I'm not going to be in this town much longer. So that's when I moved to Salt Lake City, which is like the main city in Utah.
It's the Big Apple of Utah.
Right, exactly. Everybody
big crab
moves
apple.
to Salt Lake City after college in Utah. Yeah.
Look at all the streets.
Right. They're like, oh, the big temple. Yes.
The big temple.
Yeah. So
it is actually like a pretty big city.
Yeah.
I'm making fun of it, but yeah.
It's stuff there. It's stuff there. It's people there. If you got, like, you know, a blonde wife and some blonde kids, you should move there. I always tell Nico on my improv team, I'm like, you should move to Salt Lake City. Like, you would love it there. Like,
you would clean up.
Right. You would just climb mountains and you know, do a hiking thing you like to do, and it would be drive a Subaru and it'd be great. You know, like, that's the life in Salt Lake City.
Right. Okay, so you moved there.
Yes.
Is there an improv scene there when you moved there?
Yes, there is like an improv scene. So I moved there. At this time, I'm like leaving the Mormon church because I'm like, okay, I kind of discovered this is all fake. It's time to go after, you know, you take off the rose-colored glasses. You're like, now that I know, I guess I'll leave. And I was like, okay, now I have no friends, no community, because all my friends are like still Mormon. They kind of like distance themselves from you a little bit after you like stop going to church. Not all of them, but a good majority. And so I was like, okay, this is the time. You're going to drive, you know, you're going to join an improv troupe. And so I was like looking into different kind of improv troupes in Salt Lake City. And like, you know, matching price. I'm like, oh, that's a little pricey to say I don't know what I'm about to be doing. And then I get an ad on Facebook and it's like, hey, improv class. And it's like, you come take this improv class. You pay $25 for the first day. If you don't like the class, you don't got to pay for the rest.
What a great system.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm hooked.
Yeah. See if you like it first. And
and then if you don't like it, you can not pay. So
you're not out $500 or whatever. Yeah,
exactly. So I was like, okay, great. And so it's so funny because our classes are like $200, like $250. So I'm like, oh, $25, that's a lot. But, you know, the $25, that'll do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, great. So I tell my roommate, my best friend, Raven, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to this improv class. I'll let you know how it is. She's like, okay, great. So I'm like, start to drive up, and I have to call her because I'm like, oh my God, I think I've done something wrong. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I'm in the middle of nowhere in Salt Lake City. There's no street lights. Like, I'm already testing my luck at being here. And it's like a warehouse. I pull up to this warehouse, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I told my friend, I'm like, I think I'm about to be sex trafficked.
Right.
Either I'm gonna join an improv troupe or you're never gonna see me again. And so I go into this warehouse, and there's like 3 of the funniest guys I've ever seen teaching this improv class, and like from the start, it's almost like it's begun. They're making jokes. They got the vibe of friendship. They're welcoming,
3 people teaching?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So they were, 3 friends from Provo. So they're not from Provo, but they had done comedy sports in Provo.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Sproke, Craig Sorensen, and I can't remember the other name, and Jessica Sproke, Andrew's wife.
Gotcha.
So they had done comedy sports when they were all doing the Mormon thing and like kind of living in Provo. Then after wanting to kind of do a little more, edgier comedy. And then they took a trip where they went to UCB and they saw a bunch of improv and like long form. And so they were kind of like, well, we want to do that. They like took a bunch of classes doing like Herald form and then started all these long forms. And they were kind of like, we want to do that more than we want to do short form comedy sports style. So they moved.
We got to find a scary warehouse.
Right, exactly. So they went to Salt Lake City. They found a warehouse. They turned the lights on. And Crowdsourced Comedy was born.
Comedy traffickers.
Right. Yeah. And so I went to the class. I was like, oh my God, this is so great. I started doing the class. Obviously, I was crushing it.
Obviously.
So they say.
I mean, but this was your first time doing it. You felt like right away you were like, oh, this is comfortable and easy.
The moment I started, I felt like I was like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be.
How wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a good feeling, not just in the micro sense of like, oh, it feels nice to be able to do this thing and do it, but in the macro sense of like finding this glove, this life glove that fits. And it's like, oh, I now have this.
Yeah.
I'm in like my home planet,
Yeah, it really was like such an instant of just like a feeling of like, I feel like I've been in, especially where I had been doing the Mormon thing, and I never really quite felt like it fit right. I never really, obviously, I'm like, I never felt like I fit in amongst all these blonde white people. I wonder why. But, I never really fit in. I never really felt like it was right. And then all of a sudden I had this like immediate opposite experience of just like within an hour of being in this class, I was like, wow, I feel like these teachers are really seeing me for me. I feel like I get to be myself. I feel like everything that I may have been insecure about is now being highlighted, etc.
Do you remember what things, like, do you have examples of what about you they were seeing and applauding, or what about you was being celebrated?
Yeah, I think like, I would just say, like I said, I've always been a person that's like, I'm going to say something and either you're going to laugh or you're going to be offended. A lot of times at church, that leaned toward offense, but all of a sudden you're in this moment and you're like, you say these things, you're like, oh, this is kind of harsh. Maybe this is a little mean. Maybe this is not quite, right to have this sort of attitude toward this thing. And they're like, oh no, that's perfect. That's like who you are. Like, that's what we want to see. More sass.
Yeah.
More, roasts, more like of these things that, make me me.
Yeah. It's your point of view. It's your personality. Rather than try to disappear in this, like, be vocal and be who you are. And that's awesome. Okay, so you didn't get trafficked.
No, I didn't get trafficked.
But you did get taken.
Yes, I did get taken by white men. And as an improviser. So I, like I said, I finished that class, graduated the 101. Then they're like, do you want to join our group? So then, immediately.
Out of that one class? Jazz. My gosh.
I was like, oh, okay, yeah, of course. Like, that was always why I came here.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so then we, started to do shows. They would do shows out of the warehouse. Then we started to do like corporate remotes, which was really cool to go to all these like different places and different companies and be able to like do the craft. And then eventually I became a teacher, so
let's
it was like
talk about the corporate stuff for a second. And I'm glad you used the word craft, because it's like that's where the art really does have to become craft, because you have to put a filter back on, like your like out there offensive whatever, your big swings have to become little specific swings now, right?
Yes, you're working in a box when you're in the corporate world.
Yes. Did you find that to be a hard transition, given like what you just said, that you're someone who kind of says what you're thinking and whatever?
Yeah, definitely. You go to some of these and you're like, oh, and I crossed the line. Don't swear in front of the Mormon doctors. That's not what they like. And we're always like, okay, number one, we always want to put our best foot forward. We try to go in thinking, this is going to be the best show we've ever done. You know what I'm saying? So we try not to put these parameters around it, like, oh, you can't swear. Oh, this could go south.
Yeah, don't judge it before you get in there. That's the craft. Like, it's just, you're instead of like splatter painting on the wall, you're building a ship in a bottle now. You have to be real specific, but it's not that it's not fun. It's just you have to put it in where it is.
No, exactly. Because I'm sure you've been to somewhere you're like, and that was crazy.
Totally. Oh, yeah.
But you can't go in with that mindset, or then you do find yourself like doubting and not knowing where to make jokes, And I also think it's a big proponent of like listening to the audience when you're doing those corporate things, because you really have to be observant of like, okay, what are the audience saying and how can I walk that line they're walking?
Yes.
And then also, what does the CEO's face look like? Let me make sure I'm looking at that the whole time to make sure he's having a good time and enjoying himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's such a good point. That's one of the few contexts where like a specific audience check-in is warranted sometimes. Like you're standing on the sidelines and a little glance down. Like, does he have his head back and it's like a big smile on his face?
Yeah.
Because they're the ones hiring you.
Right.
And it is funny. It's like sometimes those shows where it's like, oh, these are all like Catholic kindergarten teachers or whatever. You think that it's going to be the most button up, and they're the most like, it's like, oh, they're all drinking wine and they're here to let loose. This is their one night a year where they really get bawdy and raucous.
Yes.
But they will tell you that in the first few minutes of like what they're laughing at, how subdued they are.
The moment you get the first suggestion and someone yells out some unwork appropriate and you're like, and that's the line, people.
Right. Yeah, somebody yells out vibrator and the whole room laughs. It's like, okay, this is a little bit okay.
This is a fun company,
Right. Yeah. Cool. And then were you guys? What was the theater called that you were warehousing it with?
Yeah.
We
so
keep joking about the warehouse.
Crowdsourced Comedy.
Awesome.
Yeah. So eventually, like I said, we started doing these corporate shows. Eventually, they're like, you want to start teaching? Then, so I'm start teaching, and we're teaching like out of the UCB manual. Have never taken a UCB class.
Oh, that's so
which
funny.
Now, having taken the core and like being at the theater and things like that, I'm like, that was insane, but also so cool to be like, that's what it's made for, these people who are in, the middle of America being like, we want to do this thing, but we may not have that strong of a reference point besides podcasts and, YouTube videos and these books in which we're taking activities out and trying to, reiterate the concept of the game, which is such like a in the air concept, but being like, how can we express this in a way where we can all get on the same page and have fun.
Totally. And before the UCB manual, people were doing that like when I was a kid with Truth and Comedy. And like, I think this is what the Herald is. And I think this is what we have to do. Yeah, it is awesome that there are ways of translating this stuff. And it's kind of like, it doesn't matter if it's like a complete one-to-one translation. If that's a starting point for people and then they kind of interpret it their own way, okay. Yeah, it's a malleable art form. As long as you're doing fun work and the audience is having a good time, does it matter if it's a perfect game of the scene or whatever,
It does not matter.
Yeah.
And I remember, moving here and, so many people have these preconceived notions about if you do improv in LA versus if you do improv somewhere else. And I'm like, it's harder to do it in the other places when you are like, you have an audience full of everyday people,
who have never seen this stuff.
Who's never seen it. And you better be, more than anything else, funny and entertaining.
Yeah.
That's what they came to be, entertained on a Saturday night. They don't know, insert all these mechanics of it, but at the end of the day, they want a good show.
Right. Yeah, it's not an audience of 90% 401 students who are like generous and get it and are laughing at your little object work moves.
Yep.
They want to laugh and they want it now.
Yeah.
And maybe they've only ever heard of stand-up. So this has to really come in strong and show them kind of what this is as a theatrical experience.
Yeah. And we were really able to build that, and continuously build that at Crowdsourced is...
Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. But we continuously try to build that because it's like we want to focus on like good shows. Like how can we get up here and, build the reputation of improv because no one's really seen it in Salt Lake City. So now all of a sudden it's like we're becoming the reputation of improv in this city and to these people. Like how can we make sure that that's something fun, that that's something good, that that's something that you feel like you want to spend money on each week?
Totally. Did you feel the audience building and growing? Like you would have repeat people coming and like developing a fan base?
Yes, absolutely. Especially where we moved our shows. We run our classes out of Sugar Space Warehouse, which is still the same warehouse still to this day. You can go there, tell Craig Sorensen Jazz sent you, take a class. And so we run our we were running our shows and classes there, and then we start to run our shows somewhere where we're like, where can we get an audience? So then we start running out of a bar. And so that's a whole thing because you're like, okay, now these people have come here with a plan to drink alcohol, to socialize. And you have to say, hey, shut the fuck up. We about to do improv. It's at voice level, so you can't talk.
Right. Shush and also pay attention because if you don't, none of the callbacks will make sense.
You won't hear us. You won't know what's going on, and we're all gonna have a bad time. But like,
is everybody ready for that?
Exactly. But it's like it teaches you from the moment the lights come up, you're in the show. You know, I was so surprised here sometimes where I do shows here, and people just get up and they're like, "Hey, yeah, so we're doing a show. We're gonna have a couple teens," and I was like,
right.
Oh, we're all still just watching.
Right. Oh, sorry. You're hosting right now with that energy? Okay.
Right. Because I'm like, where I'm from, it's like, you got to be like, hey, everybody, welcome to the show. So like immediately right off the bat.
Command the attention and lead everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. Like make it like unthinkable to stop listening or paying attention.
Exactly. Because the moment you let up and the moment you let them think you're insecure and the moment you let them think they're not going to see something that's worth seeing, they're checked out.
Right. Yeah. What were you guys doing for your shows, both at the warehouse and at the bar? So we started out doing some short form, and then we would mix in a couple of long form scenes where we'd be like, okay, so we do games, and then we do some long form scenes. Meaning like long form scenes, like a little mini montage or something?
Exactly. Where at the time, right, you would call it maybe like a montage, or we would do just one scene where it's like, cuts, edits, and then that's the scene. And then we'll do another game, and now we'll do another scene. That's kind of what we started doing. And then eventually we started to pull premise from stand-up. That was like our big bread and butter and we still do that show to this day, pulling premise from stand-up.
That's great.
Yeah, and it's kind of wild that before we really mastered what organic improv was and the feats of the game, that we're like, let's pull some premise. That's what it's saying in the book. You know what I'm saying? So
what was the learning curve there?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was really trying to get everybody on the same page about what we're playing with. That's why anytime someone's like, what's the, when we talk about the game, when we talk about these things, I'm like, the game can be your relationship. This is kind of what we always say. The game can be your relationship. It can be insert this character's dynamic. It can be your emotional reaction. It can be this physical behavior. But whatever it is, we all got to know what it is.
Right. And if you're pulling it from this stand-up set or insert name of whatever opening, we have to know in the first 20 seconds of the scene what it is that you were inspired by and which of those aspects you are pulling.
Yes.
Like what did you find funny out of this, and what are you trying to explore in the next 3 minutes in this little improvised sketch? That it's got to be clear for the audience and for your scene partners.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like that's always I think the biggest struggle in improv in general is like, how can you clearly convey your idea? How can we all know it's come from? And if we don't all know, you got to be clear enough to where you can say, this is the idea. Here is how we're going to play it. And it has to be funny. Which, like I said, is like in LA, a lot of it is like the last thing you really got to worry about. You want to be more technical and the funny will come. But I'm telling you, like, we got to get funny quick in these situations and in these shows that we're on. And the quickest way to do that is by all being on that same page and saying, okay, we're going to take this character to however many places, because that's what they said from the premise. And we'll pull it directly 1-to-1 and say, this now we're going to show that character and we're going to show a slice of life to the audience, right? Yep. And you can go analogous, that's fine, but if it's getting too far for the audience to reach, we're not in the right territory.
That's right. Yeah, it's a lot harder for an audience that's not improv savvy to come along with an analogous initiation, because they're like, well, they talked about being scared of a spider in the shower. Why was this scene about being scared of kindergartners? Right. It's like they don't get that. It's like, no, it's because you're scared of something little and harmless. And now this is another thing that's little and harmless. They don't know. They're like, I wanted to see a scene about a spider. Right. And a lot of times that's exactly what it is. They're like, oh, you did the thing they said. I loved that. And you're like, yes. Right. But I think so from there we were really, just trying to focus on like making sure everyone's on the same page about the game. And the hard part is that, you get put on a team here and you're like, we probably all have been doing the same improv the same amount of time. We probably all are on similar levels because we're on this team together. But with our group, people come and go. Right. It's like all of a sudden you have insert all these people who we've been raising up for 3 or 4 or 5 years. 2 of them move out. Now we have someone who we come and we're like, you only been doing improv a year, but you up. I mean, look at you. You got drafted out of the experimental 1-day class.
Yeah, right.
It just cost you $25 and you were in the show.
That's it. But it's like all of a sudden it's like, bam, you're on.
It's like a world record for like least amount of money spent on improv classes before being in the team. That's. But do you feel like that created like a style of play? Like, did that affect your play from having to like deal with people who were like all different levels? Deal with sounds judgy, and I don't mean it that way, but like to make a cohesive show with people of all different experience levels? Yeah,
definitely. That's always something we had to be cognizant of, because you're like, okay, I want to make sure we have people who are like good enough to, actually carry the show, but you want to give people stage time because it's no other way for them to get better.
Yeah.
So I think it honestly helped me a lot, because a lot of times it's like, okay, I already know I'm playing with this person who I just taught. like you're not, I'm not saying you're bad because I taught you. So you're pretty good. Like I wouldn't put you up here if I didn't think you could do it.
Yeah.
But now it's like a lot of times I'm taking like insert a support role because I want to be able to support these people. You know what I'm saying? You always are like, okay, this person's starting a scene. Let me go up and try to help them to flush it out, which is good because it teaches you like to listen. It teaches you to be able to, when you are, playing the game, you're like, okay, let me filter the game enough where this person can see what I'm doing enough times they can now join in, right? Yep. Making sure you're being clear and really underlining what we're doing, because you want to be able to get these people involved and make them feel confident,
Yeah. Defining the idea, even if it feels a little bit hokey or like not how people talk in real life, but like kind of repeating and underlining things so that we're all clear about it. It's like, let me be clear. I don't mind that you guys are running around campus. I care that you didn't invite me.
Right.
It's like, okay, great.
Exactly. Right. The moment something goes right, you're like, yes, and this is more what I'm going for, right?
Yeah. And those support roles, that's a really good example of like taking care of someone who's newer on their journey. It happens in jams too, where it's like what normally would be a 2-person scene, but someone's maybe a little greener or shyer, or you see them kind of questioning their choice, and you come in as like an ally character to them. So it's like, that's right, we're both upset, so now they have kind of a buddy to kind of echo their emotion and be a disgruntled neighbor with them, and it's kind of supports where they're at. One of many examples of like, there's other ways to take care of people, but I think that can manifest that way.
Yes, I think that's a really big one, is being like, okay, how can I go in, or even be like another person who's helping you understand why you're weird. Honey, like, let me give you more background and can, help you to come up with some philosophy. And I think it's so much more like, it felt so much more improvised at that time. Now sometimes I think I'm so like, sometimes I think I'm too dialed in. I'm like, I'm too like robotic, where I'm like, okay, this is the game, let me find the next beat, versus being, back then it was so much more like, because I think I didn't quite understand these concepts and I couldn't quite pin down why I was being funny or why all this stuff was working, but I kind of knew like this is the direction in which it's going in. It felt a lot more organic and a lot more like, tied to the yes and.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, we kind of only got what's in front of us, and I don't really know why this is funny. You know what I'm saying? But I know it is, and I kind of get it. So like, let's just like listen to each other and find out where the goodness is.
Yeah, I don't know where we're headed, but I know that if I trust you and you trust me, we will go somewhere together.
Yeah.
It's that driving in fog analogy. It's like, you really can only see what's right in front of you. You got to adjust while you go. But you're right. I feel the same. That's such relatable content to me. Like where it's like, okay, I've been doing this a long time. That feeling of like free falling or not knowing or not understanding what to do or why is gone for the most part now. And it's like, well, yeah, that's where a lot of the improv lives.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes I find myself too, I'm like, I'll tell myself, stop getting to move ahead. You don't even know what this person said. And you're already on the back line, be like, ooh, and when I pull it, I'm going to do this little funny thing and everybody going to laugh. And I'd be like, don't do that, because the person could say something that's totally going to throw a wrench in that, and you gotta adjust,
Totally. Although, don't you find that it's good to have some of those things and put them in your back pocket just in case?
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, if we stay on this, then these are walk-ons I can do in a bit if they need it. This is a second beat idea if we want this character to come back. But then if it shifts and changes or it's not needed, then you don't. Then you ditch those.
I'd be like, let it go. I try to have like, okay, and if this, I'd be like, oh, it'd be funny if this. I try to say that. It'd be funny if this happens. Now I'm gonna do this, because
I'm gonna force this to happen.
Exactly. No, I agree. And sometimes though, it's like I get in it and I'm like, God dang it, I forgot all those little moves I had in my back pocket ready to pull out.
Forgot all those agendas I was going to force my teammates to endure. Oh, well, I'll do it in tomorrow's show no matter what the suggestion is.
Right, exactly.
Same ideas, yeah.
No, it feels like that sometimes.
I have a question about, as I'm picturing when you transitioned to these bar shows, and I'm picturing this, like what you said is kind of a gnarly setup where it's like, people are there coming in, not necessarily to see an improv show. They want to have drinks with their friends, and you're there to be Captain Shut Up and pay attention to what we're doing. How can you make that go well? How did you make that go well when that's kind of a setup for what could be a nightmare, where it's like people are bummed out, they're being shushed, you're being talked over? How did you navigate that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like, you got to set the vibe. When they come in, we got like, obviously we're in a bar, we're playing music, we're chilling, we're hanging out, we're welcoming people in the door and making jokes as we're taking tickets.
You guys are doing that, the cast members. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Walking around with QR codes and menus and passing them out and saying, hey, like, how you doing? Excited to have you here. First time here. Kind of like meeting people, getting them excited that way. And
telling them there's going to be a show.
Yes.
Like, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. And then one of my partners, Craig, he's so great at crowd work. He's like the king of crowd work. He is so good at being like, okay, from the moment I'll say hi and then I'm talking to the audience, you know? So he's so great at that. And I feel like I took a lot from that of like, how can I have a moment of interaction with the audience and already get going that relationship so they trust us, you know? He'll be like, hey, oh, you two here on today? Oh, okay, cool. So which one topping? You know what I'm saying? Or what?
Right.
Well, he's
Who
that's why I
asked
said that.
you?
But
Yeah,
you get the point, right? He's always like, I'm in the audience, like talking to people, getting them ready. Like, you're gonna see a good show, and you already trust it because I'm already up here being funny.
For part 2 of this episode, go to yesalso.supercast.com. If you like this podcast and you want double the content, head over to yesalso.supercast.com and subscribe. You can also help us out for free by subscribing to us on YouTube and talking us up to your improv communities. If you have a question that you'd like us to answer in one of our Q&A episodes, or a topic that you think would make a great bonus episode, put it in a 5-star review. If you're a theater who would like to host us for a live recording and improv show, let us know at yesalsopod@gmail.com. A very special thanks to our producer, Ryan Rosenberg, audio and video editor, Brian Kessler, and Britt Faye, who does our marketing. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week. No, we won't, Suzi. That's not how podcasts work. They won't even see us. They will listen to us, so it's actually the opposite of both things you said. Thanks for listening, and you will listen to us next week. Maybe. We don't know.